The running game has been pretty successful. Why is that? And do we have any evidence to point to?
Yeah, I think when you look, so Travis Etienne was the starter coming in, and he has been, I would say, about what I expected coming out of Clemson.
He was a dumb pick.
He's got some dynamic qualities, certainly. He's got the lateral agility. He's got some juice in the open field. He's not great on third down. He's gotten better in that area as a receiver and as a blocker, but still not quite to what they were expecting, I think, coming out. But Tank Bigsby was a third-round pick a year ago, was basically a redshirt for him a year as a rookie. Came in this year, and he is running with his hair on fire. I mean, the last few weeks, Etienne has been banged up and has not played. And what we've seen from Bigsby is that he is forcing missed tackles at one of the highest rates in football right now. He's really tough to get to the ground. He's big, sturdy. He's decisive downhill. And I think that the way that they play offensively in terms of the play calls, I think really kind of cater to his skill set and really kind of help out that offensive line as well. Because when you look at that offensive line across the board, more pass protectors than run blockers, and so they really kind of have to manufacture things from a run blocking standpoint. And so I did have some clips for us to be able to show. And so there's three screen grabs we can take a look at here from a run scheme that has been really prevalent over the last couple of weeks in particular. And really it's a scheme that the Eagles ran with Doug Peterson, with Press Taylor often, and Jeff Stoutland will still use it to this day. It's the trap whams. It's a combination of two different plays here where you're basically trying to get offensive linemen up to the second level. You're creating some blocks and creating creases. It's a well-defined run for the running back to just get him going downhill. You think back, it was the game on the road in Green Bay, right,
yes,
where Jordan Howard had that big play down the left sideline.
Yes.
That is the play.
Thursday nighter. Yeah.
Yes, and so that's the exact play that we've seen from Bigsby, in this system, in this scheme. And actually, the clip that we'll look at, it's honestly it was like the same part of the field, and the shots look very, very similar. And again, when you have an offensive line that aren't like the big physical maulers, you don't have that Landon Dickerson, that Jordan Mailata. The wham and traps, they can be advantageous because that's all about angles and kind of taking defensive linemen by surprise. And they did it 5, 6, 7 times last week against Green Bay. And it wouldn't shock me especially if the Eagles line up with a 4-down, 2 linebacker kind of look, if we start to see that kind of look kind of show up once again here in this game.
While Julia pulls that up, I just want to give a quick update. Because practice is going on as we speak. According to E.J. Smith, our friend Jalen Carter and Landon Dickerson are both practicing today.
There we go.
Dallas Goedert and Darius Slay are not.
There we go.
Here we go. Good update.
All right. No, well, good. So we'll take a look at the first shot here. And again, this is from your basic kind of like 4-2 nickel kind of look. And the people that you want to take a look at are the tight end on the left-hand side of your screen. And our audio listeners, you just have to kind of follow along here. The tight end on the left-hand side and the left guard on that side as well. If we go to the next shot here, Julia, basically what you're going to see is those two players are going to block laterally and go almost like across the formation a little bit. And that's going to start to create a little bit of a crease there for the back. And so if we go to shot 2, let's see. I think this is still shot 1. If you go to... Yep. Oh, good. So, yeah, there we go. So here's shot 2. So the tight end is coming to block that defensive tackle, and the guard is going across to block the defensive tackle on the other side. And so basically the idea here, you wouldn't think that, we're going to block, Evan Ingram is going to block a defensive tackle one-on-one. But because he's coming almost like from his blind side, that defensive tackle, it's an unsuspecting block there. So you're basically trading, all right, we're going to take the tight end, block him effectively with the defensive tackle at the tight end. Then we get an offensive lineman up to the linebacker level. So, Julie, if you go to the third shot here, now that you see that crease is starting to develop there. And look at that alley for Tank Bigsby. And so you get him up to the second level with a head of steam. He gets up to the safety. At full speed, he's a tough guy to get to the ground. He's a 225, 230-pound running back. And again, he's been breaking those tackles at such a high rate that he's just a tough guy to get to the ground, especially on those schemes. And so for me, I think that would be something we could see from the Eagles. The change there for Fangio would be if they start to get into more of those odd fronts where you put, maybe Zach Bond down on the line of scrimmage. That makes the blocking schemes a little bit more difficult to call those traps and whams. So if they go to that early, that might be the adjustment, I think, from Fangio.
And you would imagine that if the Jaguars if Brian Thomas doesn't play, the Jaguars probably aren't going to be playing quite as much 11. that's maybe inviting Fangio to play more of those out fronts.
Yeah, I think that my guess is if that Brian Thomas Jr. does not play, to your point, we'll see a lot of 12 personnel. And that would mean that the second-year tight end from Penn State, Brenton Strange, will get a lot of those reps. And he's kind of similar to Ingram in terms of like a body type standpoint, better blocker though. So both guys are kind of like the undersized mold, 6'3", 245 pounds. Ingram, a much better pass catcher. Strange can catch the ball, but he's a really tenacious blocker as well. And so
way overdrafted.
Felt the
yeah, wasn't a big Brenton Strange guy.
Not a big Brenton Strange guy.
Jeez.
Man,
that was just my I didn't like that.
I see Zach smiling over there, waiting to see what joke has popped into his head.
No, it's
he
not a
just
joke.
wants to throw a guy off a building. I mean,
throwing the guy off.
He must have met Dan Morgan at some point.
I was going to say Dan Morgan's cousin.
No, I actually don't think Trent Baalke's done a particularly good job there, but you can go on.
Yeah. Zach, is it Brenton Strange or Strange Brenton?
That's a strange question. It is definitely Brenton Strange. I actually liked his
Zach, no interest in getting some Strange.
I liked his successor at Penn State more than him. And that's Theo Johnson.
But no, I think that when you look at those guys, I would expect that we'll see more two tight ends from the Jaguars in this game. How the Eagles match to 12. Look, last week, the Cincinnati Bengals came out and they played a lot of 12 personnel, and the Eagles felt very confident leaving Cooper DeJean and that nickel package on the field. And we saw less base defense, a lot less Jordan Davis than I would have expected. And so here in this one, I would expect that they would treat Jacksonville's 12 personnel more like 11 personnel, Evan Ingram more as a big receiver as opposed to a true tight end.
We all silly like the mayor.